G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. I've thought that today would be best spent fixing up this elevator, getting it to a finished state. And the first thing I'm going to do is try a few fixes that people have suggested in the comments that will hopefully stop a bit of this wobble and make this ride just a little more smooth. So, those fixes are finding our group of pistons and everyone except for the one that's attached to the base sharing the inertia tensor on. That was the first suggestion, so let's see what happens with that. If my understanding of share inertia tensor is correct, what was happening when I had it set to all of these blocks is that this final piston was effectively having to push what it thought was the mass of the entire base, which is why it kept failing, and why even the second one would sometimes keep failing as well. So by only doing all of these other ones, the second piston should only have to do the mass of all of the subsequent blocks. For some reason, without share inertia tensor, the pistons only calculate having to push these 4 blocks and the other piston. Nothing else that goes beyond there, which is why it all gets a bit wobbly and the physics gets all a bit funny. Hopefully this is going to work, but we'll see. I'm suspicious I may still have enough mass on all of this that we might have to do a second adjustment. So let's see, we'll go down. The ride is a bit smoother, but it's a little bit shaky. It's certainly smoother. We don't seem to be wobbling around anywhere near as much as we were before. And as always, we will get all the way to the bottom. It's coming up. That's usually the fly in our ointment. So let's go back up and see if we actually manage to get the whole way back up the lift shaft. Come on. Let's find out. And it's not looking good. That we've already slowed down is never a good sign. Yep. So we're still falling short. And let's go have a look at which piston is making us fall short. So it's these final 3 in the chain. So it seems like the share inertia tensor really only allows us to do those first couple. And what we can do to solve this problem is if we go into this piston here, we can increase its maximum impulse axis. So let's put this up to 75,000. Let's go to our next one. We'll put it up a bit further. Alright, so now we've got a couple of pistons set to higher impulse axes. We've got the share inertia tensor on every piston but the beginning one. And let's see if this works. Whoops, wrong button. Looking good. This is about where we slowed down last time. We're still looking good. And we're there. There's not much in the way of wobble. There's a tiny bit. But I think that's acceptable. So it seems like we needed to combine a couple of fixes that I was told about, both with the share inertia tensor and with the maximum impulse axis. And while I did put those values into a red value, it's probably still going to be okay. I hope. But it looks like we should have everything functional now. Let's just make sure with one more trip. And up we go, up we go, up we go. And we're good. Excellent. I'm pretty happy with that. It's not wobbling around when it arrives. It's reasonably stable. It's all working nicely. The speed's decent. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with that. Now, what I'm not happy with is this medbay being right in front of our lift entrance, and the fact that this corridor is only half finished and it all looks a bit ugly. There's no lights. So we need to move this medbay, move the oxygen generator, and make it so that this bit feels more finished. And then we can color in here and then hopefully move on to making our LCD wall map there and make it feel like at least the front of the base is complete. I'm not liking the fact that it all feels half done. So that's what we're going to do. after we've gotten our lift up to a state that we're happy. So, now, where do we move the medbay to? That I am not sure. I could temporarily put it down in here since I've got cargo access ports easily accessible on these refineries. And I think that's what I will do. It's moving the medbay several times, but right now I don't know exactly where I want to put the medbay in the base. I know that I'm probably going to put it off in a living quarters down this way, but I haven't really got a strong idea of how those living quarters are going to be arranged, and it's going to take me a very long time to do that. So I really want to work on this lift, and this has to get out of the way, which means we got to do it in this order. Right. Let's turn off our conveyor system on this the oxygen generator. Move our ice into the cargo container so we can start grinding this thing down. The reason I turned off the use conveyor system is that it was going to pull the ice from that cargo container as soon as I moved it. And why am I moving it by hand? You dope. What are you doing? You can do it this way. Splitsy, what are you doing? Think! Alright. That's gone. Let's get rid of the conveyor junction. Conveyor tube. Realised that I should have had a bit more space in my inventory. Let's just forget that I did that. Oopsie. Right, let's pick those up. Now, moving the medbay. Down we go. I think I'll put it down in this section here. So we need to... I'll just use this toolbox. It's easy. We need an oxygen generator. Oxy... Nope, not tank. Not farm. What? Oh, they've changed the name of it. Well, that's nice. At least I can just write O2 now. Oxygen generator, hydrogen generator. Makes a bit more sense since it does do both things. Place one there. Then we need a med bay. And then we can place that like so. Then we just need a couple of these going around. And done. That's all we got to build. So I'm going to gradually grind down the other one and move everything over here. And then we'll jump ahead to when all that is finished. And we're done. Alright. That's good. Let's dump the remainder of our stuff. And now this is at ground level. That's even better. I'll have to remember to do that next time. Is to put the access to the oxygen hydrogen generator at ground level. Okay. Now, this corridor feels a lot better. First up, we can't have that anymore. Don't want this anymore. And I want to make the entrance to this elevator. Let's get rid of that. And that should be okay. I'm going to do this in the similar style to what we've done before. Which means... Okay, we've got production going on the stuff I want. We need a bunch of these for the moment. So, similar style to the other doorways, which is one of those blocks, one of those blocks, another one there, and another one there. We'll weld those up so it looks all pretty. We'll be colouring this and making some modifications to this hallway later, so I'm not going to do everything perfect just yet. But I do have some plans in mind that I think will make this look a whole lot better. Alright, that's good. Now, I am not happy with the shape of this lift. When we walk inside, it feels really cramped because it's only one block high. I'm going to get rid of this button panel. Get rid of this light. Get rid of this row here. Put one of those blocks up there. And because I want to change out the block that's connecting these, if I look from here, these two blocks, if I do that, I'm going to end up dropping the lift and crashing. So What I'm going to do instead is pop this here so that I can change them out and still have everything connected. Ta-da! And so that we've got a better lift roof, we're going to go with that. And the reason I'm okay with getting rid of the light inside is I want this to kind of feel like what you see in movies and things a lot of the time, which is lights actually in the lift well, which you see coming in and you see the flashing of light as we travel down. And I'm going to do that by building a whole long line of blocks outside the lift that have lights every 3 or 4 blocks. Which I think should be an interesting way of doing things. Oops. So let's pop that in that way. Put another slab in the roof. Ladder. And then this whole side is going to become glass. So I'm trying to make the dark side on the inside of this, since we're never going to see the outside, and I kind of like having a little bit of the tint visible from the inside. So that's going to be the rough shape of the lift. So we'll be able to see a long way up through the glass, and it makes this space feel much more open as we come inside, which I think is kind of nice. I'm still going to keep this open so that I've got some access for the time being, but eventually I'll close that in. And it was suggested to me that that might cause some problems with air tightness and me running out of air, but I don't think it will. One, because the door will be opened and closed that many times that it should be fine, but two, I think because we're in a planetary atmosphere, it should, without a vent sucking everything out, take far too long to empty this space, so it should be okay. Now that we've got that lined up, the outside of the lift is going to look a bit funny, but we're never going to really see that, so that doesn't really matter. What I am going to do though is change these a bit so that we don't have this situation where we can see too much here. I want to use blast door edge, then oh, there must be some rock in the way there. There we go. I appear to have hit the armor. Oops. And now we should be able to place blast door block there, there, and there. And finally, another one there. Then as we walk on, we'll have no perception that we're really just walking over a massive drop with only blast door edges to save us. Which is kind of what I'm after. Let's go grab some more steel plates, we'll weld those up and then move on to the next task. I'm pretty happy with this entrance now as a rough guide, and I do prefer this kind of tube through here as it does make everything nice and closed, and then in the elevator is actually quite open. But what I'm going to do next is based on a suggestion I was given that was way too funny for me to not do. And that involves a sound block. And we're going to, with this sound block, use a mod that I made just for this purpose. We're going to place the sound block there. And with this sound block, we're going to play a nice little sound. But we're also going to set this up so that this elevator can be controlled by sensor. And I really would like to have placed the sensor there, but all of these rocks are too low. Maybe we can just get rid of this one. I think that should be safe. There we go. Alright, we have sensor. Once that rock dances out of its way. There we go, sensor. So with this sensor, we are going to use it to activate the elevator when we step on. We're also going to use it to activate this sound block. And the way we're going to do that... Oh, we can probably use the build info mod. Let's check this out. Let's go to K, let's go to info, show sensors field range. Let's hop into a control panel somewhere. Sensor. So let's name this, which will be elevator sensor. And it'll detect players, and that's it. We don't want the elevator to work for the enemy, so we'll turn that off. And now, hopefully I'll be able to see the sensor range, though I might not be able to due to a lack of antenna on the base. Well, that's a problem. Don't really want to have to build a massive antenna just to do this. So let's use what we know about sensors. Let's select this. We want the front extent to be as small as possible because that's the side that's facing us right now. We don't need that. We need the back extent to go down. Let's push it just a bit beyond 5 meters. The top extent, which is this direction, only really needs to be 3 and a bit meters, so we'll drop that down to 4, just to round off neatly. Bottom extent can go down to 4 as well. Now, the left and right are from the perspective of the sensor, so left is this way and right is this way. So left extent we can drop right down. Well, actually, we probably want to keep it so that it does cover the whole elevator. So we'll leave it at 3. And then right extent. We need 1.25 plus 2.5 plus 2.5. So that will be 6.25 meters. Go 6.2. Now, hopefully, this is going to work. For now, what we'll do is we will use the sound block as a trigger to see if I've set that up correctly. Largely just because I am too lazy to put an antenna on the base. Now, we need our sensor. Oh, actually, let's set up our sound block first. Sound block. And this is elevator music. And we will select our music, which is local forecast elevator. That should be fine. Sensor. Set up actions. Elevator music. We will set it to play. And just for now, we'll set it to stop as we walk out. Let's go see what happens. Yay! It works! And as we step off, it stops. On, off, on, off. That could get really annoying. But it proves that I have set up my sensor range pretty much exactly as I've intended to. Because as we go in and out, it stops. And out. And out. Cool. Alright, next what we need is a timer block. We need a timer block because I want this sensor to trigger more than just the sound block. I want it to actually trigger the elevator mechanism itself. So, let's go into our server room and we'll probably place a timer in here. Can place one above this programmable block. Don't need any more sensors for now. Timer block. Place it that way. Realize I actually had the right components for once, which was nice. We're going to call this timer block elevator. And we are going to set up its delay to 1 second. It's going to be silent. We'll set up its actions. What we want it to do is to activate our sound block. So toggle on. We're probably going to need 2 timers. No, we won't. No, we won't. I know what we'll do. So sound block on and groups. We want it to reverse our pistons. So as we step on, the elevator will go to the other end to what it was currently at. And that should be everything we need to do. Now we need to set up our sensor differently with our actions to be not the sound block. What it will first do is activate that timer. It will trigger now. And then as you step off, it will stop playing the music. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to set this to have a smaller range. It doesn't need to go out to 50 meters. If there's anyone else ever in this base, that would drive them up the wall. So let's make this 15. That way, if you are waiting for the elevator, you may start hearing the music before it comes up if someone is already in it. And let's test if this works. As we hop on, everything works. Once this door's finished, I'll also put it on the timer so that it gets triggered as you walk onto the lift. And we're down the bottom. We walk off. Now, the sound block didn't play then. And I know why. Because I was a dope and I set it to turn the sound block on, not to set the sound block to play with the timer. So once we get up the top, I will fix that. Oops. That's good to know. There's a connector I can easily access. Alright. Timer. Splitsy, what are you doing? Not on. Play. Let's try this again. And we should almost have it working exactly as I want. Assuming I haven't made another derpy error. Yay! Oh, this is amazing. I don't want to talk over the music. Yes! Oh, yes. I love it. I love it. I could ride this all day. I almost want to make the lift run slower so you can hear more of the music. This mod is available on the workshop already. If you just head to my workshop, you can get it. The music is by Kevin MacLeod, and you can find it on Incompetech. He's got a huge range of awesome Creative Commons music that you've probably heard all over YouTube by now. In fact, I think even one of his songs is used in Kerbal Space Program. Yes! Alright. I am very happy with that. Now, it's time to make everything a little prettier. Probably start by building this door. Don't think I've got any near the components I need, but having a functional door, but also having some genuine lights in here, and probably building those... Oh dear. Well, that's happened. One of the pistons has decided not to work. Actually, a couple of them have. Did I do that by walking out of the elevator? Let's check this up to 125,000, see if everything still breaks. Ugh, that's annoying. Let's hop back in the lift. Let's hop out and reverse it. No! What are you doing? That's just rude. Uh-oh. Okay, let's hope that I've actually set those max impulse axes to the required amounts now. Alright. That is good. Since I'm going to be working around this lift, I'm actually going to deactivate that timer so that we can't end up with the lift on. because I want it to stay where it is while I'm building it, and we probably don't want to have to deal with that music all of the time. It will make my edits very difficult. So I'm going to weld up this glass, and then I'm going to start work on the lights that are going to show up as we come down. Alright, for our light row, I really want a column of blocks just in front of where our character will be. So I want it to be right in front of this piece of glass, which means we need to bring a row of armor blocks all the way around there. And I'm going to have to do that, possibly like this will work. If we use the top of that row, bring it over here, and we can place a slope in there. And now I just have to drill as I place these down. I think what I'll do is attempt to make these 3 blocks wide. If we can get in behind this. And place another there. And another there. The rest of it will just be the exposed rock for the time being, unless other constructions mean that we have a benefit from making this all an enclosed elevator shaft. What I'm really doing here is trying to create a simple platform for putting our lights on, so that the elevator doesn't need an interior light because it'll get enough light from the lights on this column. And that means I can get away with my design where I've got a bit more headroom in there than we had initially. But also, so that we can get that cool light moving down effect, so that we can get a greater perception of our movement than just being in the dark. Okay, I am at the bottom. I have placed down this whole row. My lights don't actually reach up to the top of the lift shaft. That is awesome. And now I will weld all of this up so that we can get a better idea of what it's going to look like. And I'll jump ahead to when I've finished welding this. And probably a reminder that I did at one point mention that I should build a welding drone. But don't want to delay with that. I just want to get this done now. I am impatient. I am almost out of power, and I've just realized something that I did earlier. Oh man, I put the medbay upside down. Oh, some people would have been screaming at me as they saw that. Sorry. I'm actually not going to bother fixing that since it's only temporarily here anyway. But every time I look at that, I'm going to be so embarrassed. Oopsie. On a side note, there was a little thing I forgot to highlight earlier when I was highlighting all of the standard updates. Izzy's solar alignment script has had an update, and now it's got little content bars and looks all nice and purty. So I'm pretty happy with that. Just update that in the usual way, which is going into the programmable block, selecting edit, selecting the script again from the workshop since it should automatically be updated, and then check your code, remember an exit, and you're good to go. And there we are. We've got a nice big metal wall ready to go. So now it's time to place some lights down. What sort of lights should we use? I think this will suit the standard interior light the best. It would be really nice to be able to use spotlights, but I think they'll just be too processor expensive. The point light would look nicest though. I wonder. No, we'd need too many of them. So I reckon we'll go with 1, 2, 3 blocks in between each light. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might just place a light down the bottom here as well. Even though it's not going to be directly visible. But just so that we've got a bit of light down the bottom too. All the lights are in. Now if we hop inside here, turn off our light, you can see the kind of feel I'm going for. But we need these lights to have a slightly larger range than what they've currently got. So let's push this out to encompass at least a little bit of the lift itself. Maybe we push them to 6 meters each. Do I need to go bigger? We'll go 8. Let's do them all at once. Hop into our control panel. Go with interior light. And it'll be the most recent ones with the first one being edited. So that's this one. So it's 4 through 10. We will name this elevator lights. Save. Turn off show block in terminal. Close that. Elevator lights. And we'll set our radius to 8 meters. And our intensity, we'll drop that down to 3. And let's just do a little bit of this. 240. 240. Well, it's still pretty white. Maybe I'll drop that a bit further. Maybe that'll do. Let's see how that looks. Alright. Time to reactivate that timer and see how this looks going the whole way down. Do 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 do. No headlights on. There we go. Nice. I'm pretty happy with that. Oh yeah. Styling. Cool. That's all I really wanted to do with the shaft for now. I'm happy with that lighting. The next thing is this corridor, which we can't see without my headlights on, because it doesn't have a roof. And that's been slightly driving me insane. So, we're going to fix this. We're going to make this corridor look, hopefully, good. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint the whole thing the same color. There we go. Now it's all the same color, and it's all a light grey, which I think is the color that we should go for most of this. So I'm actually going to paint all of out here as well. Which means I'm going to have to repaint these catwalks because they were included in that little paintbrush effort just there. Oh, what have I done? Splitsy, you dope. What are you doing? Not sure what colours to do the pipes yet. Because of the pairing, I'll fiddle with that later. For now, it's just going to be grey. Everything's going to be grey. Let's do this again. I have to do this so many times because I'm a dope. Alright. Alright. So with all the painting fixed and everything in here a uniform colour, let's just quickly change the colour of the chairs. Let's make them blue. Because why not? There we go. Little thing, bit more interesting in here now with a bit more colour. And time to remodel in here. First things first, I'm getting rid of the floor. The whole floor is going. Because I have an idea that I want to try out. Now we've got a nice blank canvas, and I've reworked these tubes so that we got rid of the junction that was no longer needed for the oxygen generator and medbay. And what I think we're going to use is the catwalk corners, well, the catwalks, and some interior walls. And we'll start with these catwalks. I had a thought a while ago that I wanted to use these open catwalks as a way to have a semi see-through floor. It gives a bit of an industrial feel, but if we keep the colours right, this should look like a sort of upmarket industrial area, like high-tech industry. So if we take these straight down the centre of our room, and then what we'll do is use our interior wall blocks, and they've got two different sides. Well, they've got three different types of sides. There's this side with the sort of piping, there's this side with just blank, and then there's this side with some emissive strips. And what I think we'll do is we'll use this blank side for in against the walls. And I don't know what just happened then. And while I'm going along here placing these, I should probably put in the corner lights into these bits. Since I'm going to need them in there eventually, and this will save me having to grind stuff down later. Do it like that. Same on this side. Go 1, 2, there, there, and we'll probably also... Actually, we'll leave that one blank because I want to make that a solid armor block. Oh dear. That is not what I wanted to do. Then we'll place another one there. And do the same on that side and leave it blank for the armor. Across, across. Like that. Okay. Now, so that we kind of create the feeling of pathways, I thought we could use the emissive strips on these to kind of highlight the directions you go. So we'll build those like this. And there we go. I'm going to weld that up so that we can have a look at it in progress, and then we'll get started on the walls and roof. Okay, the floor is finished, and you can see what I was getting at with these emissive strips, and with our semi-see-through floor we can get a hint of the pipes under there, but not really much else. And even once we add more lights in here, I think it'll still look pretty cool. And those emissive strips on the floor mean if we have a power outage, and I realize I'm going a little too occupational health and safety focused here, but it'll still look really cool if we do have a power outage and have a way to find our route out of our base, which is really nice. Next up, let's go to our roof, and I don't think I really like these being here. What I would like to do instead is use them one block off to the side, because I would like to do something like this. So we'll go with armor tip there, 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 there. Then what we'll have is one block up there and there, followed by a similar idea to what we've done in the past, which is one of these, but instead of having this center row being a row that's got solids, we might use emissives? Yeah, let's use the emissive side of these interior blocks down the center, and then on these we'll hang our lights. So that's going to run down the center. The armor blocks will only need to go along the side here. I think if we do it that way, it should work. I want this to mirror some of the ideas that are in the refinery room with the way that it's got that kind of archway, but not as pronounced. So that we'll have one of those there. Then, much like we've got on our floor, we will use these catwalk opens this way and place them the whole way down. I'm not going to do that because I need to weld up these blocks first, but I just wanted to describe that because I'll place this down as I'm going and as I'm welding up this later. So that should give you a rough idea of what we're going to do, and I'm going to jump back once I've finished both sides, since I think watching me weld this all will drive everybody insane. And that's pretty much done. There'll be a few final touches and we'll need to pop some lights in, but I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what I'm going for here. It's got a bit of an industrial vibe, but it's also got a bit of a homely, maybe a little bit stylish, or maybe I'm kidding myself and it's not stylish at all, look to it. Why wouldn't that? Oh, I see what I've done there. I accidentally placed a catwalk in there. Let's try these in between and see how that looks. We'll do one side and then compare them and get a rough idea. So I think it will look nicer having these on each second piece as well. Yeah, I think that looks more refined. So let's put these in each spot. And there we have it. That's pretty much our corridor done. I'm quite happy with that. Looks much nicer walking in here now. But we are still missing lights. And I want to make these out of the double corner lights. And I think what we'll do is place one there, and one there. So every second of those rungs sort of thing. So that we're not having too many lights. So at the rate I'm going adding lights to this base, I'm probably going to need to build another solar tower soon. Alright, let's edit these in the console. Let's go with corner light double. So that's those three. Lights, main corridor. Save. And put all the radii up to 10 meters and drop them all down to 2.5. Let's have a look. Look at that. It's all nice and clean and bright. It's possibly too bright because we can't really get a hint of the blue coming from those corners. Maybe we'll drop the intensity down a little way. Or maybe, actually, I got a better idea. Let's go lights main corridor. Let's turn off show blocking terminal as well. And what we're going to do is we'll reduce the radius down to, let's go 8 meters. Intensity down to 1.5. Let's try that. Oh yeah, that could work quite well. We'll still pick up the blue from there. Yeah. Now the thing I'm not sure about, but I think I'm going to do for the time being, is I would like some greenery in here. So let's put some ferns in tubs. One there, one there. One there, one there. Maybe one each side of the lift as well. Actually, I wonder if we should just do it in front of every one of these things. Does that look funny from back here? Does look like I've randomly placed them. Let's just do them on all of them. So with these ferns in tubs, we probably want to weld them each to a different level so that the ferns all look slightly different. So I'm going to deliberately not build them all up to full. There we go. How does that look? Maybe it's a bit over the top, but for right now I'm going to leave it. I kind of like having a bit of greenery in here. That's a little bit of lighting. I'll probably make some fine adjustments to these at some later stage, but for now, that feels so much nicer in there. It actually feels like I've made some efforts to complete this thing rather than just going, oh yeah, it's functional, let's leave it. So happy with how that's turned out. So very, very happy. And one final thing. I think if we change our elevator so that the velocity of each one of these is 0.8 meters per second, it might run just that teensy bit more smoothly. And since we got the music, I think that'll be our cue to end this episode. This, I feel like we've really achieved something. I like that this corridor now feels somewhat complete. That walking into this part of the base and walking out here, you feel like you're actually walking through something that's mostly done. Yeah, I know there's a big brick wall, rock wall thing at the end, but still, it looks done. And then we can walk into our lift and enjoy the music as we go on down to the hangar. There's plenty more to come in this series, so I'll see you then.